Welcome to the first ever Black Monologues at the University of Maryland, College Park. My name is Haley Haywood, and I'm the Graduate Coordinator for Black Student Involvement and Advocacy in the Multicultural Involvement and Community Advocacy Office, also known as MICA. We sponsor this program with the financial support of a Pepsi grant in order to celebrate the diversity within the Black community. All too often, Black people are portrayed as a monolithic group, and people expect them to fulfill the stereotypes that you see on BET or ESPN. But that's gonna end tonight, because we're here to celebrate the unique contributions that each person in this room makes to the University of Maryland community, regardless of the color of their skin. Tonight you're gonna hear original monologues performed by students that attend this university who've come together to share their stories with us. We ask that you please leave your commentary and conversations to the side, because afterwards we want to hear what you think. There'll be a time for reflection and reactions to everything you just saw, because we want to hear your voices as well. Before we get started, I just want everybody to take a look around. Can you turn the lights up a little bit? Notice the seats that are taped off in here. We taped off 64% of the seats in this theater to represent the 64% of Black students that do not graduate within 6 years. So let me just repeat that. Nationally, 64% of Black students that enter college do not graduate within 6 years. So while you're listening to these stories, I want you to think about that and think about why you are in those seats and you represent the other 36% of students that do actually graduate, because you all are gonna make it. So just let that marinate, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Thanks.
Shades of gray. Unidentified inequities enhance our ability to ignore the obvious. Sanctioned rules remain unspoken while lines drawn with imaginary chalk outline the borders across which our thoughts are taught not to wander. Historical lessons reveal a dude named Jim Crow and some brown nigga who went against the Board of Education so that his Black children could go to school. Just to see poor little Ruby Bridges being spat on by that angry mob in first period, or that group called the Little Rock Nine eating in the corner of the cafeteria alone. Learn your history, folks. And though the people did rule that the separate is indeed unequal and little Ruby is now free to roam wherever she pleases, the rain has not yet washed those imaginary lines away, and the remnants of the segregation still lingers among us, even in this post-racial society we have today. My surroundings depict the outcome of a nation gone wrong, a society where that famous dream is only relevant in sleep, and the idea of unity is lost in fairy tale land somewhere with old Saint Nick and his elves who ride around with Little Red Riding Hood and Mrs. Bo Peep. The irony of the situation often remains as taboo as the topic, where those who get the furthest are the ones whose voices remain microscopic, while those noisemakers are shunned to the back and told to sit down and stop it. Just ignore the obvious. The racial tension that makes class lectures resemble that divide from back in the day, where interracial is a bad, bad word, and any talk of race is done in stifled whispers because you gotta watch what you say. Offense is inevitable after the truth is unmasked, when roommates cease to interact and a white person at a BSU meeting is an outcast. Comfort zones are not went beyond. Everyone stays on their own side. Interaction seems unnecessary once the racial barriers have been defined. Ignorance then ensues, which makes the process damn near impossible to reverse, and instead of coming together, apathetic attitudes tend to ignite the curse. Change is confused with blatant disregard, because history has proven that ignoring a problem is usually the best solution. No, I stand firm and use my voice as a confirmation that students all around will come together one day, because when Black does not mix with white, we can never make shades of gray.
I can't tell you what it means to be Black here at this school, because to tell you what it means to be Black is to tell you what it feels like to reside in this skin. This skin has been my blanket, my warmth, my existence for 20 years. I know nothing else. So I can't tell you what it means to be Black, but I can tell you what it means to be me. And being me has meant having brows raised because I chose to pledge a co-ed frat with, oh shocker, white people. Being me has meant everyone else around me telling me I have to work 10 times harder to be considered equal. And I'm wondering if equal is even a concept that exists in the 21st century, where our greed sometimes outweighs our good. Being me has meant falling for a rainbow of men and not caring in the least whether it was right to love, like, or even lust any of them. Being me meant sharing my room for 2 years with someone who didn't look like me, but connected with me, understood me in a way that the average person could never even fathom. Being me is not having to defend. Being me is not having to pretend. Yeah. If I turned a blind eye to the realities that exist today, I would be foolish. But if I let those same realities characterize and consume me, I would be lost. For black is a color. It is a hue. It is not something that makes me me or makes you you. It is not an identity. It is not a definition. It is not a destination. It is not, nor will it ever be, a mass of me. Being me is just being me.
I have Igbo blood running through my veins, but I used to be ashamed of my own name. And first days were the worst days of school. I remember sitting at my desk in anticipation, waiting for my teacher to provide me with the ultimate humiliation, disgracing my name in complete annihilation. And I used to put my head down full of pain. Of my culture and my heritage, I was ashamed, mad at my parents for denying me a European name. Who am I? I have Igbo blood running through my veins, but I used to struggle to correctly pronounce my own name. Nkemka Aniwo. And I wanted to call myself African, but it didn't seem right in my mind because I hadn't even been to the motherland one time. A lack of knowledge of Igbo language and my history. Sometimes I fear that years from now, my culture will become a mystery. Who am I? I have Igbo blood running through my veins, and I was raised in America. But isn't it all the same? Because I began to call myself African in my culture. I did proclaim, but some Nigerian-born Africans looked at me like I was insane. And I remember in my younger years being told I was an American by my peers. The rejection from both sides could have brought me to tears. Who am I? I have Igbo blood running through my veins, yet I'm lost at a search for identity. But my ancestors speak from within me. They tell me that the knowledge of my history will empower me, but the lack of knowledge of it will devour me. So I strive to know my identity, and I understand that my history can tell me who I am.